Hello YouTube and welcome back to World of Warships with Wadres yet again. And today I'm just going to go ahead and call it an awesome ship review for you. And this is for the Tier 9 regular tech line French battleship, the Alsace. Now, this is a ship that has been in game for a while, and I'm sure there are quite a number of you who have already learned the I'll come out and say it, the wonders of this ship. And, well, let's just say I have now myself. This ship, as the three standard review matches will show, is quite the powerhouse. And in the hands of a skilled battleship player, I'm going to go out there and just say flat out that she is a force to be reckoned with. Those of you who have been with me for a little while do know that I tend to lean very much towards being a battleship main, while I do still enjoy playing the other ship classes to an extent. Battleships are always kind of my go-to, especially if I'm just looking for having fun slinging some lead around and not having to worry about doing too much else. Well, the Alsace has definitely proven that it's not going to be any exception to the rule. In fact, it is very good at slinging lead both from the main battery and its phenomenal secondary battery array. This ship has... Okay, let me put this in perspective a little bit. I am saving up my FXP for the German Tier 9 battlecruiser Siegfried when it comes out. So you are looking at a full-on stock Alsace, plus the basic in-game upgrades that you buy with credits without having to research them. Yeah, this is a stock Alsace for all three of these matches, and it's probably going to be stock for a good chunk of time following this, as I just attempt to save up my free EXP. So, the simple fact of the matter being that I can pull off matches like you are about to see in a stock Alsace, I'm almost scared to see what I can do with this ship in its fully researched and upgraded configuration. Because some of these matches are just, holy moly, that they're incredibly good. It may not seem like it at first, but even the match that you are looking at in the background here is only just going to get better and better and better. This is definitely a ship from any side to be wary of. For those of you who end up fighting this ship, I would say if you see her on the enemy team, just kind of tuck your head between your legs and pray, because that's basically all this ship is going to give you a chance to do under the right circumstances, or if you're the one facing it, the wrong circumstances. It does have the full functionality of the speed boost of the whole French line, so that is definitely something to keep in mind. She can definitely move around the map nice and quick when she wants to, which for a battleship is actually a scary thing to consider when you really think about it. She has reasonable enough armor where you don't have to worry too much about, well, you don't have to worry too much about anything other than Yamato if you're bow tanking, and her armor profile is at least strong enough where she can deal with a lot of other ships just as well as, well, anything else in the game. As I have said, however, one of the other things that you really need to be wary of with this ship is her secondary batteries. She has a couple of large caliber secondary batteries, and she also has a fair array of smaller, I think 105 millimeters. But the ones that you really need to worry about are the larger, I think they're 155s. And oh boy, can they shred lightly armored targets. Baltimore's tend to tank a little bit better, but if that were a light cruiser, yeah, these secondary batteries would have been tearing it a new one very, very quickly. And yeah, let's just see here. The enemy FDG. I pulled in alongside of it. I actually did a Notzer, but instead of trying to wait for it to clear me and get out of my way, I just decided to back up in line with her, because it's actually trying to shoot the cruiser, or no, the destroyer that's behind me. I'm not giving it that chance. No way in hell am I going to give it that chance. And I'm going to let my secondaries just continue working away at it too. But yeah, that that FDG really was probably wishing that it had not decided to target the enemy destroyer, but rather give me the time of day, because I left it hurting real good to not put too fine a point on it. Now, I will say at this point, just as a side note, I do kind of have to wonder what our destroyer was trying to accomplish with an FDG this close and an implacable that had it spotted. I mean, well, why wasn't he trying to engage the FDG? Well, actually, I kind of understand why he wasn't trying to engage the FDG, but why didn't he cut in and try to go on the other side of the FDG and torp it, instead of trying to basically run away and go after the aircraft carrier with a FDG shooting at it from behind? So yeah, I do kind of have to wonder what his thought process there was, because it didn't work out in his favor, that's for sure. But anyway, back to the Alsace, however, this ship is, again, for a battleship, just downright scary. It's capable of chasing down targets that a battleship otherwise would not be capable of chasing down quite as effectively. And even without the speed boost, she is nice and quick. She is still technically a fast battleship. And she does also still have some very good main battery range to back up her speed, too. Granted, she's not as good as some of the other Tier 9s or even some of the Tier 10s, but 18.4 kilometers is nothing to sneeze at either. So she does have good effective range, and when you consider that the dispersion on these guns can occasionally be a little trollish, it's definitely probably better to keep her at the shorter ranges, where she is just downright lethal. And as you can see by some of my marksmanship here, even at near max range, she is still a very formidable ship when it comes to being able to just put shells on target. She is fairly accurate, and that is something that you can't really say about too many of the Tier 9 battleships outside of the US and Japanese lines. So for match 1, that was 163,214 damage. 136,000 credits earned, 3,022 EXP, and 190 free EXP. 39 main battery hits, 386 secondary battery hits, 9 fires, 3 kills, 6 planes shot down, 5 citadels, I mean, the list goes on. 602 base EXP. As a mid-tier ship for the match. Granted, the only tier 10 was a Moskva that I didn't even face off against, but still mid-tier for the match. 82.6 to the FDG, 36.8 to the Baltimore, 41,000 to the Implacable. I mean, these are not small numbers, to say the least. 121,000 damage done by my main battery, 38,000 damage done by fires, and, well, that's interesting, 3,333 damage done by my secondaries. And that's not even counting the damage that was done by aircraft. I tanked almost almost a 500,000 points worth of damage. The ship itself took 60,000 points worth of damage and was still more than happy to keep going. I mean, this was an incredible match, even by my normal standards. So for me to pull that out on my first round in a stock battleship, this is, I was kind of wondering, okay, yeah, okay, that was, I'm not going to duplicate that at all. There's no way in hell I'm going to be able to duplicate that. Oh, and by the way, final notes, 20,000 credits earned net for the match, and 3,100 Commander EXP earned. Also keep in mind, this is a commander who is not using, I think, AFT to extend the secondary battery range either. So this is still just manual secondaries and AFT talking. But yeah, as I was saying, I was thinking by this point that there's no way I'm going to duplicate that. My matches after here are just kind of going to taper off and not really be anything spectacular. Yeah, then I get into a match where it's all bots on the friendly team, and it's literally just me. And in this match, again, I was thinking, oh, this match is going to suck. All the bots are either going to ram out or something else, and I'm just not going to get stuck being able to do much. Well, I'm going to be proven wrong not very quickly, but definitely in due course. I suppose instead of just talking about my experience with the ship, I should go a little bit into her stats, just a little bit. Well, okay, by that meaning my usual in-depth analysis. For survivability, starting off, she has a 69,000 hit point health pool for her A hull, and the B hull has 74,700 hit points, and she does have a reasonably good torpedo damage protection at 44% reduction. For her main battery, she receives 3 quadruple 380mm or 15-inch turrets, and these are, again, in quadruple turret housings instead of the standard triple that most of you are familiar with. She has a 32-second main battery reload, and the turrets take 36 seconds to rotate 180 degrees. For her initial rangefinder, she gets out to 18.4 kilometers, and the second rangefinder goes out to 20.3 kilometers. This is also not taking into account the, I think, an artillery plotting room or something like that, which would push her range out even further. For her shells, her HE shells do 5,400 damage and have a 36% chance of causing fire on target, and her armor-piercing shells do a maximum of 11,900 points worth of damage. Her secondary main batteries, she has 12 double 10-centimeter guns, which do 1,400 damage per shell maximum, with a 6% fire chance. The stock hull variation has a 4-second reload, and the upgraded, or B hull modification, gets a 3-second reload. She also has 3 triple 152mm. I should correct myself from earlier because I thought they were 155s. And they do a maximum of 2,200 damage per shell with a 12% chance of fire on target, and they reload in 12 seconds. And she has 1 forward and 2 aft. The 10 centimeters she has 12 doubles, so that is 12 per side, for a total of 24 overall. For her AA suite, she does have good numbers. She has 12 double 37mm that do 145.2 damage per second. She has 10 double 25mm, which do 56 damage per second. 12, and of course, all of her secondary batteries are also dual purpose. The 10 centimeters do 81.6 DPS to aircraft, and the 152s do 24.9 damage per second to aircraft. And this is for the A hull configuration. On the B hull configuration, very few things change, except the models of the 25 and 10 centimeter guns do change. The 25 millimeter DPS increases from 56 to 61, and the 10 centimeter DPS increases from 81.6 to 177.6. So more than doubling the AA output of the 10 centimeter guns. Now, this ship would be nothing without her maneuverability. On the A hull, the A configuration for her engine modules and everything, she has a base speed of 30.4 knots, which with the 8% engine boost of the French battleships, she can get up to 32.8 knots. She has a turning radius. Sorry, I don't know why I got stuck there. She has a turning radius of 910 meters, so she does turn relatively wide, but with her speed she can at least turn somewhat quickly. And she also has a 23.2 second base rudder shift. For the fully upgraded hull and engine module, she gets a maximum speed of 32 knots, or 34.6 knots with the engine boost, and her rudder shifts in 16.6 seconds. For concealment, on the surface she is seen at 16.7 kilometers, and that is without camouflage bonuses or anything like that taken into account. And her air detection is 12.1 kilometers, of course with the standard smoke bloom and assured detection characteristics. Now, as far as everything goes, these are actually some very good solid numbers for battleships, and I would even go so far as to say that in a number of regards, this ship actually rivals the Iowa, especially in regards to her overall AA performance, which probably explains why I actually hate facing French battleships if I'm playing an aircraft carrier, because they do tend to have murderously strong anti-air suites. Having said that, she is still very capable in all respects, and she is a nice all-rounder as far as battleships are concerned. And of course, with those beautiful, beautiful, and numerous secondary batteries, she does have a very viable secondary battery build. In fact, most players do tend to build her for their secondary capabilities because, again, those 100mm guns, while they may not do a whole lot of penetration, they still run the chance of setting a lot of fires. On top of the fact that those 152mm guns are more than capable of penetrating at least basic light armor and have a much higher fire chance still. So those secondary batteries are definitely nothing to shake a stick at. Very much worth investing in a full-on secondary build for this ship because, again, they are very strong. And as I've already mentioned, my build is tailored in that direction. It's not fully lined up in that direction yet, but it is pretty dang close. The only thing I'm really missing is, again, I think AFT, just to push the range and I think dispersion out just a little bit more. But beyond that, I mean, this ship is an incredible showcase of secondary firepower that I'm even going to say is highly rivaling that of the German battleships. In fact, I'd almost be tempted to say that it's better than that of the German battleships, except for the fact that these 100mm guns don't have the penetration bonus that is seen on the German battleships or the or some of the other special case small caliber guns either. So we'll have to see if the Alsace gets anything like that in the future. Personally, I hope she doesn't, because that would just make her even scarier. But yeah, with these secondary batteries, the base range on these secondary battery guns is 7.5 kilometers, which is the same as you would see on the Bismarck, the FDG, and the Grosser Kurfürst secondary batteries, as well as those of the Yamato at Tier 10. And with the proper modules, flags, and everything, this ship's secondary batteries will reach out to 11.6 and maybe even 12 kilometers. So very, very solid secondary battery systems, to say the least. I have yet to see a match in this ship where I have scored less than 300 secondary battery hits for a match. So take that how you will. So, second match results on the screen now. 183,597 damage done, 66 main battery hits, 390 secondary battery hits, 5 kills, 4 citadels, 6 fires even. I mean, these numbers just kept on rolling. 179,000 credits earned almost as a gross earning for the match. 25,000 EXP, 2,500 EXP. 717 base EXP. I mean, come on. And this was an all-bots match, where I was the only player, and I was expecting everything to just ram out and leave me with basically crap, or even a defeat. So this was a incredibly strong match as far as I was concerned, because this is one of those matches where I just kind of looked and figured, everything's going to be stacked against me here. I'm going to have to play either phenomenally well, or this is not going to go anywhere. And I just ended up playing phenomenally well. 49,400 damage to the Lexington, 4,400 to the Worcester, 37,000 to the enemy Alsace, 13,000 to the Akizuki, and a fair spread of damage to just about everything else that got in my sights. 144,000 damage done with my main battery. 28,000 damage done with my secondaries, which I've been kind of praising for about half the duration of the match. 11,000 damage done with fires. Potential damage tanked. 750,000 points worth of potential damage tanked. And the ship only took directly 41,700 points worth of damage. And most of that were very much capable of being recovered with the repair party consumable. So this ship was still more than happy to keep on going. Net earnings for the match, 55,600 credits. And Commander earned 2,655 EXP. I mean, these are numbers that I would be happy to see in my Missouri in a lot of cases. And the ship put in all of the work for it. It was that strong. And yet again, I was thinking, I can't do better than this. I'm gonna start seeing it fall off eventually, and yeah. Well, yeah, wait for it, because again, it's only going to get better. You may not believe me, but it is only going to get better and better for this third match. So, hold on to your pantyhose, folks. It's gonna be a wild ride. While battle number 3 is ramping up, I am going to briefly go into what I have chosen for this ship as far as the actual upgrade modules. I have gone with Main Armaments Mod 1, Damage Control Mod 1, Secondary Battery Mod 1, Steering Gears Mod 2, Targeting Acquisition System Mod 1, and Secondary Batteries Mod 2. And again, the reasons for this is Main Armament Mod 1, just to get survivability from my main batteries. That's kind of standard on just about all of my ships. Damage Control Mod 1, just because battleships really don't see a whole lot of incapacitation to their steering or engine modules. So this is definitely better for just bringing down your fire and flood chances, as well as, I think, your fire and flood duration. Secondary battery mod 1 to push the secondary battery range and reload. Same with secondary battery mod 2, again, just range and reload. Steering gears mod 2 to emphasize this ship's other strength, which is her phenomenal, and yeah, I'm going to say very, very phenomenal maneuverability. And of course, target acquisition system, because as I've stated numerous times with other ships, for a battleship, I firmly believe that concealment is kind of a moot point, especially when you start getting into closer quarters engagements. It's not something that you're really going to be relying on too much for a battleship, especially when you consider the fact that as soon as you open up your guns, your concealment basically goes out the window. On top of the fact that the Alsace, to my understanding, does not have the greatest detectability statistics in the game to begin with. So it's kind of like trying to polish a turd. You really can't get too much better out of it with its concealment. So instead, I feel that it's better just to be able to acquire your targets earlier and be able to just kind of punish them harder and earlier. So that's why I opt for targeting acquisition system instead of concealment systems. It just seems like a logical decision to me. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to put a whole lot of points into concealing something that's basically seen from space anyway. So that's just my 10 cents on that particular issue. And again, when you're also talking about a ship like the Alsace, which has such phenomenal secondary batteries anyway, since you're going to be pushing into close quarters, that concealment is even more of a moot point, because you're really wanting to get in where everything's just kind of point blank as it is, so that concealment's just going to be a wasted module in the long run anyway. So well, why invest in the concealment at all? That's the way I feel about it. I definitely think trying to conceal this ship at all would just be entirely counterintuitive. So anyway, that's basically the everything that I really wanted to mention about this ship. Beyond that, the other things are just very simple commander build things. Primarily full secondary build, so this, as the commander upgrades, I don't have a 19-pointer on her yet, but as the commander upgrades, just the standard AFT, BFT to bring the most out of the secondary batteries as far as reload and range, or reload and range, and of course manual control for secondary batteries, because that just helps your dispersion substantially. As far as other things, of course, I would go for expert loader, just that way if you have your main batteries fully reloaded, you can just switch shell types that much quicker, which is a nice little thing to have when you're talking about your 30+ second reload times. And of course, there's also expert marksman to get these main battery guns kicking over just a little bit faster. As far as other things that I would definitely go for a second level 2 skill, I would definitely go for Adrenaline Rush, just to get your guns firing even faster. And for level 3, I'd definitely opt for Survivability Expert, just to reduce your fire and flood chances even more. Which, aside from the secondary specialization, that's basically what I would consider a standard battleship build. Just focus to the ship's strengths a little bit more, instead of trying to go, say, full-on survivability. And her AA suite is already strong enough without needing too many bonuses either. So again, just with such strong secondaries, it would be a shame to not invest in them. Getting back to the match at hand, that absolute bitch slap to the enemy Lexington effectively pushes this match beyond both the first and second matches, I have done at this point 210, 11, counting on 15,000 damage done for this match. And the numbers are just still ticking. And ticking. And ticking. This match far exceeded any of my expectations in regards to the amount of damage that I've done. And I am going to be perfectly honest in saying that I have no qualms in blaming the USS Missouri player for, I'm almost tempted to say being almost ineffective over the course of this match. I mean, I'm not going to say that he was entirely ineffective. He does still have 2 kills to his name. But I don't know what kind of damage he's done for that result. I don't know what few ships he's actually targeted. And it certainly seems like he hasn't done much to any of the enemy battleships to actually get any of those kills either. So I'm thinking he's probably killed a couple of destroyers and maybe either both destroyers or maybe even a cruiser. But, I mean, he's definitely not doing a whole lot of work. He's trying to be the long-range U.S. sniper battleship that the Missouri can be, don't get me wrong. But he just doesn't seem to be doing much, to be fairly honest. I mean, by comparison to what I've done, and I'm not going to ring my own bell here too much, but I mean, I've basically carried this team almost already with, again, 237,000 damage done. That's numbers that I'm not even normally seeing in some of my tier 10s, like my Yamato or my Montana. So to see this in a tier 9 Alsace stock match, I'm finding these numbers to be just absolutely flabbergasting, absolutely flooring. I did not in any way, by any stretch of the imagination, expect to see these kinds of numbers going into this match. And by the way, I am still going to pull in a little bit more damage still, and you can also see that my AA batteries, despite the Lexington being sunk down, are still working over the last torpedo squadron that the Lexington launched that had gone, I guess, off to the map border and then come back. But at that, I've maxed out now at, 35,000 damage done to enemy aircraft with everything having been shot down. And now I'm just going to keep working on the enemy Alsace, trying to finish off this match. And, I mean, there's 240,000 damage. The Missouri finally decides to get in a say and does a good chunk of damage to the Alsace. But I get the final say, because my final salvo on the enemy Alsace, as it's going around the corner of the island, sets a fire on it. And the friendly cruiser that got destroyed is no longer contributing to damage. The aircraft carrier isn't going to get there in time, and the Iowa nor me do not have line of sight for any further damage directly. So the enemy Alsace is just ticking away with one fire behind an island, and it's just not gonna make it. And I finished this match off with just shy of 250,000 damage done. I mean, holy crap. I mean, to my knowledge, that's a fairly respectable number even for most random battles. So I'm very happy with how that match turned out. 86 main battery hits, 20 aircraft shot down, 3 ship kills, 7 citadels, 13 fires, 754 secondary battery hits. I mean, my God, these numbers are not small by any stretch of the imagination, and again, above and beyond anything that I would expect to see in any of my other ships at this point in time. 210,000 credits earned, 3,908 EXP, 245 free EXP. I mean, my God. I can't even begin to express how incredible some of these numbers are to me. I got nothing. I got nothing. So, yeah, this was still, by my standards, an incredible match, and definitely not something that I expect to duplicate anytime soon. Unless, of course, maybe this is my standard for the Alsace, at which point I'm not sure what to expect anymore. 843 base EXP earned for everything that I did. And as I was saying, I probably shouldn't rag on the Missouri too much. He definitely still seemed to put in a lot of effort. 553 base EXP is certainly nothing to sneeze at. Having said that, I don't know where a lot of that contribution was. I could be sorely mistaken. I could be very, very wrong. But it just did not seem to me like, from what I observed, that he did anywhere near that much. So, anyway. Kill on the Iowa, 86,000 damage. Cleveland, 34,000 damage. Enemy Alsace, 28,000 damage almost. 55,500 to the Lexington. 47,000 almost to the Des Moines. I mean, these are not small numbers that were done to these ships. And only 178,000 of the damage that I did was done by my main battery. My secondaries did 12,500 damage, and 60,000 damage came from fires. And my total doesn't even count the 35,000 damage done that was done to enemy aircraft. I tanked just over 1 million potential damage, and the ship itself directly absorbed 77,808 points worth of damage, and was still very happily going strong, and just completely dragging in more and more earnings. I mean, this ship, I don't know where to go with this ship at this point, except to say that she is fantastic. It's entirely possible that my Missouri might actually have a Challenger moving forward if it keeps up at this rate. Though there is always going to be, and probably still will be, a favorite place in my heart for the USS Missouri, just because she is the USS Missouri, but that's another matter entirely. Final tally, almost 90,000 credits earned take home for the match, and Commander earned 4,100 EXP in co-op. I mean, these are... And this is also after the first battle bonuses for the day were redeemed, too. So these are literally raw numbers without any major modifiers. Just wow. I wasn't even running any of the big booster flags or anything like that. This was literally just my clan bonuses and my basic camo bonuses, nothing more. So these earnings were way out in left field. Anyway, on that note, that is the Tier 9 French battleship, the Alsace. I hope you have enjoyed these matches as much as I enjoyed playing through them, and I hope that if you're new to my channel, you see fit to like and subscribe to the channel for more and future content. Anyway, on that note, I suppose I shall go ahead and let everybody go, and I hope to catch you all again next time. Y'all stay safe, take care, and I wish you happy hunting.